is the environment. And
Can we have a round of applause to welcome our dignitaries? Can all please be seated? गोय मोजे कुरपेचे रसरशीत देण्याचे ल्हान तरी सौमाच्या वस्तूंनी भरलेले गोय मोजे कुरपेचे माय गोवा इज ब्लेस्ड filled with bountiful gifts tiny yet full of natural resources my Goa is blessed. Now I request Sir Alexo Reginaldo, MLA of Kurtorim constituency, to welcome the gathering and deliver the opening address.
Greetings to you, Madam Priyanka ji, to all of our congressmen, dear senior leaders, all our members on the stage, and my dear friends. Since 9th March 2012, when this government took over, till today we have nothing but hollow promises. Our environment, everything has been, all spheres of life we have had problems. We had 3 chief ministers and we had so many issues. I'll highlight only a few before I come to the main issue of Mollem. Failure of soaring prices, failure to galloping employment, disappointment of mining, complete collapse of SMEs, all-round COVID mismanagements which have taken place, where the result of almost 80 deaths have taken place. Water diversions of the Madai, which is our lifeline. A Bhumipitra bill, which was to institute or help more people who are not sons of the soil. Deplorable conditions of our roads. As far as the environment is concerned, the Indian National Congress Party in the assembly as well as outside have taken a lot of issues. We have written to the Prime Minister. We have written everything. We have written about the 3 linear projects, about the coal hub, what they were doing, how they were transporting coal and making Goa a coal hub. The linear projects, we have seen everything. The CEC has almost red flagged all these projects. All the 3 projects, the double tracking, the Tamnar project, as well as the 4-laning. It has brought in pertinent issues as far as all these three projects are concerned. One was the CEC came down heavily on the SW, the South Western Railway line, that it will destroy the fragile ecosystem of the Western Ghats, which is internationally recognized as a biodiversity hotspot and the most important wildlife corridor in the country. It has added that double tracking would in fact only marginally increase the capacity of coal, but the sensitive ecological damage it will do to the tiger reserve, to the wildlife sanctuaries, as well as the national park would be immense. The Tamnar project of the 400 kV, the CEC has recommended, instead of saving the precious forest cover, the wildlife, the ecological fragile and biodiversity rich Western Ghats, it could be redrawn, remodified and be kept on the current 220 line. The linear projects will only, they have even raised issues where in some parts of the wildlife where the corridor or where the forest is affected, that we could have stilted or raised areas which below it the forest or the wildlife could go in. On behalf of the Goankars, I have written to the Prime Minister on World Environment Day, which is very important against the linear projects. But till date we have had no replies. We have nothing from the state government as well as the central government. In fact, such projects will only create catastrophes and damage like what is happening all over the world and happening in India. In fact, even on the Port Trust, due to chronic capitalism of this BJP government, we have highlighted how the handling of coal will have an effect on the Goankars. The inhaling, the breathing problems they will have, the drinking water that will get polluted, the double tracking of Hospet and Vasco, the Railway Act, which is more to create all these things so that they can have a free flow on all the projects. The expansion of coal handlings in our state would lead to only coal pollutions. The coal has been transported via Goa, and Goa has been made a coal hub. How the double tracking will affect the ancestral houses, how the double tracking, the acquisition has damaged the areas beyond the existing line. The state government has surrendered its interest as well as the central government to the corporates, to the people who have more interest in thermal powers and steel plants in other states beyond our state. To conclude, the state government has the complete blessings of the central government. It is a double engine to destroy Goa, both the central government as well as the state government. We have in fact highlighted it each and every sphere, right from the 3 linear projects, the highways, everything that has been done for all these things. With this, I'd like to welcome you to our state. We have a lot of interest. We have people who are fighting for the environment, are fighting for a peaceful and a lovely state with all these various types of traditions, biodiversities, and so many things. So we Goankars would like to say a big no for all these things. The double tracking, the southwestern railway line, the 3 linear projects, and as a quote, I would like to remind how the Bombay High Court judge had once said that Goa is a land worth fighting for. Just like your great grandmother, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, had helped us to retain our identity. We would be 100% sure, and we would want you to take up this challenge also to help us save our state. On behalf of everybody today, all our congressmen, our senior leaders, our environmentalists, everybody who is interested in our state, all our dear supporters, our congressmen, we'd like to welcome you. We are happy, we are glad that you are here in this state, and we would also like to tell you that we will be one of the people who will always remember what the Congress party, as a congressman and as people of Goa, what the Congress has done. Congress has done so many things in Goa, right from small roads to big projects. And I welcome you again, and thank you for giving us time and giving us a nice time of yours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for delivering the opening remarks. Save Mollem campaign have been carried out by youth, students, along with civil societies, NGOs and other groups under the banner of Goinso Ekvot. There have been many struggles, adventures, awakenings and lots more. We have amongst us the students and environmentalists who will present an image on the screen before us about the campaign. Now I call upon Ms. Gabriela De Cruz from Amche Mollem campaign to present the Green Manifesto that the youth of Goa have prepared.
I would firstly, again, like to warmly welcome you. I think the mic is too high. Thank you. And on behalf of the Amche Molle campaign, we are very grateful that you have come here today and would like to hear more about the campaign and more about what we as young people would like for Goa's future. My name is Gabriela De Cruz. I'm a marine conservationist, and I speak on behalf of the campaign, on behalf of all of the people that have spent over almost 2 years now fighting for the protection of Goa's largest forest. The Amche Molle campaign started with a few people that were really upset about the fact that Goa's protected areas and Goa's resources were not conserved to the level that they should be. And it was our collective angst and frustration that came together to form this incredibly beautiful campaign that was run by lawyers, ecologists, students, doctors, poets, writers, artists, farmers, and so many more people that gave their time and were also so passionately concerned about Goa's ecology. This campaign is a very good representation of the fact that young people in Goa are very concerned about our environment, and we will vote accordingly. To give you a brief understanding of what we feel is the right way forward, is we would like to talk about how excited we are that Goa can actually be a model state for the country, and how we feel that because of Goa's ecology, its young people, its resources, and also the fact that a lot of people move to Goa to start new things and exciting things, that we feel like this is a fantastic starting point for a green manifesto. And so I would like to read to you a few points from the manifesto and then present it to you. Goa is made up of its forests, its wetlands, its mangroves, beaches, fertile lands, rivers, rich culture, unique history, and all of the living beings that call Goa their home. Our environment defines who we are, and we wholly rely on it to live and thrive. When the health of one part of Goa suffers, the rest suffers too. As we look to the future, the health of the entire state, with all of its geographies and inhabitants, needs to be taken into consideration by policymakers. Goa is already suffering the consequences of the climate crisis, with an increase in the frequency of cyclones, untimely rainfall, and sea level rise. These weather events are taking a major toll on our homes, livelihoods, as well as our mental and physical health. Young Goans believe that sustainable development is not only possible, it is necessary for our survival. Our expectation, therefore, from political leaders is to create party manifestos that focus on resilience, sustainability, equity, and social justice. This manifesto is a call to action and a collective demand from the youth of Goa for an active response to the climate crisis as well as the destruction of Goa's nature. This document is purely a first step in what we hope will be a collaborative process where young people can continue to work with the government to ensure the protection of our beautiful state. I think what we all want to say from our hearts is that we are so proud that we live in this incredibly beautiful state and we have so much to conserve, and that we are also so excited that there's so much we can do. So for example, Goa is the first state in the country to have a circular economy plan. We have quite a robust climate action plan. We have a very well thought through regional plan, and all of these need to be actively implemented in policy moving forward. And to do this, young people will step up. I am confident that all of the young people that have showed up today and that have showed up previously are committed to making Goa a sustainable a place for us to live. And also with climate change, it's an existential threat. It is something that we all need to address, because it is something that we all need to understand, is that unfortunately the politicians of today may not understand it as much as we do, because we are young and we have many more years to live, and so we need to understand the decisions that are made today will impact that of the next generations as well as our lives right now. And so on behalf of the Amche Molle campaign as well as all of the young people in Goa, we are really incredibly grateful that you have given us this space and the opportunity, And we would like to continue to having conversations with you, not only about the thriving economies that we can encourage in Goa, not only about the protection of Mollem, but also of our other biodiverse spaces, but also how Goa can become an example for the rest of the country. And we are very excited to move forward with this, and thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you, Gabriela. This was the Green Manifesto of Safe Mollem campaign. We also present in brief the Youth Manifesto prepared by the youth of Goa. I call upon Ms. Sarita Fernandez to do the needful.
Hello. Yes. I was just going to say, am I audible, because we are so used to the work from home situation. But a very warm welcome, Mrs. Gandhi. My name is Sarita Fernandez. I am the fourth generation Goan in the state, with my grandparents seeing the pre-independence time and living in free India. I've been working along with a lot of youth groups, a lot of grassroots youth groups in Goa, and subsequently nationally since 2018, when the CRZ 2019 amendment was passed in Goa. And we've been mobilizing just with the young people present in the state in whatever capacity we could since then. This is a manifesto that we've created very briefly, which we will be handing out a couple of hard copies of. We have thought this through, and we worked really hard on it. And the basic crux, can you go on the next slide, is basically we wanted to just convey to everyone here that Goa deserves better. And Goa deserves better because climate change is something that links all of us. We've seen the success of the Mollem campaign and the amazing work that this group of young people have done during the pandemic in 2020 alone. Even before Mollem, we also seen the draft EIA 2020 notifications, where we had an upward of 25 lakh objections being sent to the union government against the draft policy. And it was sent in 2020 during the pandemic again. And so these youth groups, part of them in Goa very dominantly, that are now in various pockets as we can see and stuff, have also wanted to communicate these 5 agendas, or these 5 areas that Goa really wants to see improve over the course of time. So we've connected the manifesto with we're talking about climate change, and we're talking about how climate change is centric or is linked to livelihoods. It's linked to ecology, as we can see with the Mollem campaign and how they have put out the resilience, bit in their manifesto. We want to see disaster management and talking about how is Goa preparing for that. Post-COVID welfare and gender. And we also threw in some hashtags as campaign strategy points, because some of our friends are part of the Congress party and we really would like to help them out in the good work that they are doing. In case of livelihoods, basically we got to know while we were researching that an average of 11 Goans every day in 2017 give up their Indian nationality. And this is because there are no jobs here. There are no opportunities here. I've just come from Delhi because I work there with a think tank. And I went to Delhi because there were no opportunities in policy work that I wanted to do on coastal and ocean policy. I had to migrate from Goa to Delhi. And this is a classic example of how a lot of young people do want jobs, and we do deserve jobs. Moving on, another example is tourism. And tourism in Goa has its own unique identity. We have our own unique selling point with the ecological influence, with our cultural influence. And there is no policy protection to looking at protecting this unique selling point, this unique selling tourism of Goa under the livelihood domain. Okay, next. We also have seen that there isn't the political environment to understand Goa's capacity in what kind of infrastructure projects it can handle. and how much its ecology can take. So we are looking at projects from like we are in between Maharashtra and Karnataka, two very industrial big states. And they are doing, I'm sure, a lot of wonderful work with infrastructure, but we do not talk about the geography available for Goa in general to handle heavy infrastructure projects. Projects need to be designed that are suitable for the state, that justify the balance of ecology and development. Next. In disaster management, one of the authors of this manifesto, Ms. Ruhi, was in Goa during Cyclone Tauktae, and she was, as I quote her verbatim, without 24-hour supply of water for 1 week. And she was in North Goa in a very well-connected space because Cyclone Tauktae was the super cyclonic event that a lot of Goans have not seen and were not prepared to, and were basically not prepared to deal with. And when we went to check what do we have as a state to combat this, we understood that we have no disaster resilience. We have no critical infrastructure protection. It was during COVID. We had no community shelters to run to, even when a cyclone hit us. And there is no conversation on restoration. In post-COVID recovery, we would like to see building back of the critical healthcare infrastructure. We would like to see stability in an environment without ideology-led violence. We would like to see welfare for the orphans, the young people and the orphans of the COVID-19 pandemic and the senior citizens who've lost all of their dependents during the pandemic. And in case of gender, which is one of the last slides that we would like to highlight and connect climate change to with this, is the average rate as per 2021 report was that 4 cases of crimes are registered against women in Goa every week. So I calculated that to a month, and then I calculated that to a year, and I hypothetically seen the total female population of Goa. And I basically connected that in the next 10 years with the small little population size that we have, every woman in Goa will have had a case of crime inflicted upon her, will have a case of violence reported against her. And that is a scary figure for a woman. So the increasing, escalating crimes is something that we are seeing. We are not seeing the representation of women in governance and leadership roles. 2 MLAs in Goa out of the 40 MLAs are women, which is a concerning figure. And also this reflects in a lot of administrative and other roles that we are seeing. So this is all part of the manifesto and it's a lot of literature, but basically Goa deserves work. Goa deserves sustainability, and I can't read stuff because I have gone a little blind, but Goa deserves a better future. So thank you so much, and yeah.
Thank you, Sarita, for the presentation. The journey of Save Mollem campaign have been a vast experience to the youths and the students. Now, the floor is open for the discussion and interaction with Srimati Priyanka Gandhi. I request all the co-interactors to consider the paucity of time and be as brief as possible. I request Sherry Fernandez to kindly moderate the interactive session.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon, ma'am. As you are aware, it's a little high. Okay. As you are aware that there are 3 very destructive projects. Thank you. Yes. So I was saying, we all are aware that there are 3 very destructive projects taking place in our Goan forest right now. These forests are quite literally the lungs of our state. Right from our livelihoods to our future generations, we need these forests with us. This is a part of a global biodiversity hotspot of the Western Ghats and will be irreversibly damaged if the Mollem movement is not sustained. Our associates have also approached the highest court in our land. We want to know what is it that you can assure us in your manifesto. How will your party support us before and after elections? And what will be the official stand of the Indian National Congress on this issue? We have Neola Pereira with us next, who would like to again put across a question to you.
Shall I answer that one first?
Sorry?
Shall I answer what you asked first?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So firstly, I would like to say hello to all of you and thank you for having me here. I would like to congratulate you on having made this an issue for this election. Because I travel from state to state and I notice more and more that the issues that are addressed and discussed at election time have nothing to do with environment, development, jobs, sustainability. And I'm really proud of you for having taken this issue up and have made this movement in a manner that you cannot be ignored. Of course, you're preaching to the converted here. I mean, you can tell from my voice that I come from one of the most polluted cities in the world. No coincidence that it's run by Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP at the center. This is my little political twist. But I was speaking to our leaders here in Goa, and I believe on my brother's last visit, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's visit here, he's also already committed that the Congress party, if it comes into government, will scrap all 3 of these projects. I got to read a little bit of the manifesto, and I would actually urge our leaders who are probably in the process of finalizing our manifesto. I really don't see, the little I've read it quickly in the last 5 minutes, I think there are a lot of things that we could just incorporate in our manifesto, and I would urge you to have a chat with our leaders. I don't know if it can be organized, Chidambaramji, that they may chat and that you should actually include a lot of these points in our manifesto as well.
Thank you, ma'am. We look forward to having a chat with them. We now have Neola Pereira.
A very good day to you, ma'am. I'm Neola Sibyl Pereira from the village of Chikalam in Margao Taluka. I am a student of business administration and I was a part of the Mollem campaign. This campaign has pioneered so many young women, which showed that the daughters of Goa fiercely fought to protect her forests and the natural wealth of her people. I want to tell you from here, ma'am, that one day I aspire to serve my fellow countrymen in the Indian Administrative Service. You have inspired me and many other young women like me to fight for what is right. And that being said, my question to you is, we have inherited our forests and our natural resources from our ancestors. And in turn, we need to preserve it for the future generation. With growing population and increasing demand for employment, what do you feel, what do you and your party feel should be the median between the environment and the economy, especially what will be your plan for Goa, knowing about its beaches and rich ecological diversity?
So I'd just like to take you back to something that I think you said, and you said 2 things that I noticed. The first was that you said you wrote to the Prime Minister, and because of the apathy of the government, you used the word apathy of the government, you did not get a response. I think you said politicians of today don't understand the need for sustainability and they don't understand the importance of preserving the environment. I would say both of you are wrong. Politicians fully understand it. And it is not a question of apathy, it is a question of intent. The difference is that they very often, political parties in government, they look at resources as methods towards sort of, I would not say all of them do, but I would say a lot of people in politics see those resources as methods of exploitation and moving forward for themselves, in the sense that of making money, of,
Yes.
those kind of things. So I think that the mentality has to shift.
Right.
They fully understand the importance of the environment. It is their job, it is the job of us, all political parties and people who are in government, to balance sustainability with development.
Yes, ma'am.
They are not mutually exclusive. They only appear to people in that manner because there is a certain idea of exploitation that lies beneath. And it is that idea that needs to be challenged. So when you start a movement like this, you force them to challenge that idea. So when the intent is not there, when a government does not have the intent to hear people out, what it basically means is they don't have respect.
Right.
They don't have respect for the people who elected them, and they don't have respect for the land they live on, they don't have respect for the environment, they don't therefore have respect for nature, wildlife, and as I said, of course, for people.
Yes.
Because they get away with not having that respect. As I said, when we come here to speak of elections and we talk about election campaigns, very few political parties, I'm proud to say mine is one of the ones that speaks of development, that speaks of jobs, that will be able to answer your questions on what we want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
However, most political parties today divert from these questions and try to create an atmosphere and environment during the election which actually raises issues that have nothing to do with all this. So it's very clearly intent, no apathy. It's not apathy. They intentionally ignore you. If the farmers were campaigning and sitting outside the capital of the country for months on end and they were not heard, nobody bothered to go and speak to them until 2 months before the elections.
Right.
That is intent. That is not apathy. They are not being ignored. They know fully well what is going on, but they don't want to do it. And I think it is the job of young people today to change that. And really, when we sit here and speak of environmental issues in Goa, of all the issues that you've raised, including jobs, including everything that you have raised here in this PowerPoint, it is really up to you to make up your minds. You reclaim your own state. You reclaim what politics should be in your own state. You ensure that you do not vote for those politicians and those political parties who are going to exploit it. So I really feel here the power is in your hands. You're a great example of it. And I think that what you're doing should really be an example for the rest of the country. But you must know what you're dealing with.
Yes.
So that's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Farai Patel.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah, awesome. Wow. Goa's rivers are her lifeblood, and there are recent plans to nationalize these rivers, which could lead to the wide-scale deterioration of human health, the destruction of traditional livelihoods. Sorry. Hello. This is better. So I was saying Goa's rivers are her lifeblood. And there's a growing consensus that development in its current form will lead to the wide-scale deterioration of human health and the destruction of traditional livelihoods. This includes plans to nationalize Goa's rivers, which could lead to the devastation of riverine ecology upon which thousands of fishers depend. There are concerns regarding the viability of the waterways given the maintenance cost of large barges and dominance of one main commodity, which is iron ore. So how does your party, what is their stance on river nationalization, and how do you commit to protect traditional livelihoods and riverine ecology?
As far as I know, I might be, which Chidambaramji will endorse whether I am correct or not. As far as I know, there is no such plan by the Congress party. Am I correct? Would you like to? Could you pass your mic on to Chidambaram ji too?
In fact, nationalization of rivers which run through a state is an anti-state, anti-federal approach. We do not want state rivers to be taken over by the center. This is part of their agenda of one nation, one everything. Ultimately, it will become one nation, one party, and one nation, one leader. We do not want rivers to be nationalized. They must be under the control of the state, and the people of the state must decide how those rivers must be protected.
In fact, I work in Uttar Pradesh, and one of the main points that we are taking up about rivers is the fact that indigenous people used to have rights on the banks of the river, which have been completely taken away from them. And there's a lot of mining happening there. It's being done by contractors, and their livelihoods are completely destroyed. So we are actually fighting for them in Uttar Pradesh. So I doubt that, I would say that I'm happy that Chidambaram ji has endorsed exactly what I thought. We have no such idea in the Congress party.
Next we have Trisha Dias.
Hi. So, my question is that the Congress has mostly elder privileged men as their leaders, and Goa being a small and young state,
I'm not included in that.
with an exception, and mostly elder privileged men. And Goa being a small and young state, louder. And so Goa being a small and young state, yet one of India's most beautiful states, requires leaders who come from diverse backgrounds, including representations from more women, with firepower as what we call Goan oozer. And what is your view on this, as well as your view that leaders and parties should not hijack citizen-led movements similar to ours?
Well, I have recently announced in Uttar Pradesh, of which I am in charge in the Congress party, that we will be giving 40% of all the tickets for the Vidhan Sabha election to women. So that should make my view clear. I, of course, leave it to the leadership in Goa as to what their decision will be, but my hope really is that more women enter politics. I really do believe that women have a lot to contribute in terms of just the fact that, firstly, we are fighters. I see a lot of you here. We are nurturers as well. And it's not just about nurturing our children, but as you're saying, nurturing the environment and everything around us. And I really believe that even the fact that we're compassionate, and today, especially in our country, politics is filled with violence, anger, hatred. There's so much that we can bring to it. So I truly believe that there should be more women. I believe that there should be more young people. And I have brought today I have in fact sent this morning to the leadership in Goa a women's manifesto, which we released in Uttar Pradesh just day before yesterday. And I hope that a lot of those suggestions can be implemented here in Goa too. I'll send you guys the manifesto for you to see. You asked two questions, right? What was the second? Or have I answered both?
Okay, so the second part was, what is your view, what is your view that leaders and parties should not hijack citizen-led efforts like ours?
I agree, they shouldn't. Okay. They shouldn't hijack movements like yours, but I do believe that if ideologically they believe in the same thing that you do, they must support them. Because I also believe that that in some situations, especially when there are governments which are oppressive, undemocratic, and do not allow such movements, that when political parties are able to support and help you without needing to hijack your movement, then it can actually push your movement forward and help you to fight the oppressive behavior of governments. At least I see that in a lot of my work. And where I am working, there is a lot of oppression. I was commenting here that I see a lot of Congress flags. In Uttar Pradesh, the minute we put up Congress flags, they're taken down because there is absolutely no space for dialogue, there is no space for opposition, there is no space for raising people's issues. So in that kind of circumstance, if there is, for example, there are a lot of students in Uttar Pradesh who have issues about their exams and unemployment, etc., and we willingly support them without hijacking. I always tell them, we don't want to come, you have your meeting, we don't want to come and participate in your meeting, but we're here to support you, because if we don't, then oppressive measures come into play and it becomes very difficult for them to sustain their movement. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Ma'am, we thank you for addressing the few of the many questions we had. And I would also like to point out that every person sitting here from the Amche Mollem campaign has gone through some part of climate change. For example, I am from Wasco, and I have faced the adverse effects of coal pollution. I have breathing problems, and I'm pretty sure that each person sitting here has an issue because of this. So while we are very glad that you're here answering our questions before the elections, we hope to see some change before and after the elections as well. Because we are not just here, to speak about the forest only.
I fully understand that. And the Congress Party is committed to whatever I already said about the projects, and it's committed to sustaining the environment and making development in Goa in such a way that it doesn't destroy your environment, it doesn't destroy your state. We really truly believe that Goa is for Goans and for all the inhabitants, all the living beings and the nature of Goa to flourish.
Thank you, ma'am. We hope development is inclusive and with the people of Goa on board with it.
Of course.
Not without them.
Of course it will be. Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Thank you all.